Biology. Depending on when you are looking at this video, this may be the first or last video of the course. If you are kind of watching this as a preview to biology, then this is a great place to start. If you are ending your course of biology, well, this will be a great place to end. So I just want to take 10 minutes or so and talk about what it is that we do in biology. And yes, indeed, it is the study of life, but it's so much more. If you were a philosopher, you would be studying life and you might be asking the question of what is the essence of being? What is it to be alive? I think, therefore I am. That's what Descartes said. If you were a historian, you might be looking at the history of life, the history of human life, and if you are an anthropologist, you might be asking the question, what is it to be human and how did we get here? But in biology, we are all about trying to understand all life and living systems and the non-living things that influence us. So in biology, we talk about the biotic and abiotic factors that define a given organism or an ecosystem or the biosphere. But not only is biology the study of life, but it's how we study life. We rely on the science method to study life. We rely on using evidence based on data to study life. We rely on inquiry, observations, and experimentation to make sense of life. So biology at its core is a science because science is all about designing controlled experiments to further our understanding. We're not into mental games, though sometimes we do go through thought experiments, but we are all about the observations and the questions that we can answer through experimentation. So, what is the world of biology? What are the primary things that we study? Well, if you were an AP student, we would talk about the big ideas of biology. And as somebody who teaches AP biology in addition to digital biology, I like this model because in biology there are four major ideas. One idea deals with this idea of energy, energetics, metabolism, and materials. That is, getting enough energy to maintain the integrity of a living organism and keep that living organism alive and functioning. And that energy applies at a molecular level, at a cellular level, at a tissue level, at an organism level, at an ecosystem level. But energy is core. Without energy, we get entropy. And entropy is disorder. So there always must be energy in, and that brings me to this idea of a system. And systems include things like anatomical and physiological systems. They include cells as a system, an entity that is responsible for keeping the system alive. We talk about ecosystems, or a collection of organisms interacting with each other in a biotic and abiotic environment. We talk about the entire Earth as a system, but we can also talk about experiments as a system. We can look at enzymatic reactions and describe that as a system and talk about the inputs and outputs. In biology, a third big idea, is information and information transfer. And this has us think about things like cell division and passing on genetic information. But it also has us think about cell-to-cell communication, like the way neurons function, or the way a body responds to an infection and B cells stimulating the formation of T cells after being informed, or B cells stimulating the formation of antibodies after being informed to do so by T cells. And then finally, we have what I would call the overarching theme of biology, and that is evolution. Evolution ties all of these other three big ideas together. Evolution connects biology. It connects us by explaining why all life uses the same genetic code. All life is based on the energetic molecule ATP. All life interacts with each other, and that there is this tension between life and living organisms that result in adaptations and that cause us to thrive and survive. So let's look at this in the context of our class. In digital biology, we typically have about 10 units, and what I thought I would do is link the units to each of these big ideas. And I'm just going to hit them one by one, and hopefully this will jog your memory about what we've studied or give you a preview into where we're headed. So under the big idea evolution, we spent a lot of time studying natural selection and then the patterns we see in evolutionary biology. Under the big idea of energy, we study enzymes and metabolism, and we study photosynthesis and respiration. Under the unit of information, we study DNA and cell division, protein synthesis and bioengineering, genetics and meiosis. And under the big idea of systems, we study molecules of life, cells, ecology, and body systems. So you can see that the 10 units that we learn in our Biology A and Biology B course fit neatly into these four big ideas. But know that just because we are studying the topic of enzymes and metabolism under the context of energy, that topic also fits in systems. And that topic also fits in information as we talk about cells communicating with each other and metabolic activity needed to sustain life. And we have to look at how metabolic pathways have evolved. And I could be drawing arrows like this for all of the big ideas. All of biology is connected, and it is all connected through the evolutionary process. So I thought I'd give you one last model that illustrates this connection, and that's cancer. So we studied cancer earlier in this course, or we will be studying cancer later in the course. And when we look at cancer, we can actually see all four big ideas interplaying with each other. Cancer begins with healthy cells in your body. And those healthy cells go on dividing, following what the cell cycle suggests it should be doing. The cell grows, the DNA copies itself, the cell prepares to divide, and boom, we go from one cell to another cell. The cell cycle is integrated in the cell cycle is the process of mitosis, which is cell division, and every once in a while, one of the DNA molecules inside of a cell might have a mutation. Well, that mutation is then going to be copied and it's going to be passed into another cell. Well, these cells, they're going to become, they're going to lose their integrity. They're going to become less healthy. Their function is going to change. And as they go through this gradual change, those cells may become cancerous. Well, cancerous cells, one of the problems with cancerous cells is they use energy and they will starve our healthy cells. So the energetic system gets corrupted. One of the things that cancerous cells do is they have ways of altering homeostasis of the system, changing the balance, depriving healthy cells of the resources they need, and those cancerous cells, they begin to propagate. That means divide and survive. And they're in constant competition with the healthy cells in your body. And the healthy cells are trying to survive, the cancerous cells are trying to survive, and so those cancerous cells end up adapting in response to that competition. And those adaptations cause them to survive. So we can see that there are all sorts of selective pressures, that is competition, forcing the evolution of the cancer cells. Well, what's the body's response? Well, you have a system who is responsible for finding these cancers, and those systems include the immune system, which involves T cells, and those T cells will start to interact with the cancer, and they're going to try to destroy the cancerous cells, and the T cells then are a selective pressure, which is forcing the evolution of the cancerous cells. And so we have this model in which your body is an ecosystem of healthy cells that are you, an ecosystem of unhealthy cells that we call cancer, and we have a biological battle going on where your healthy cells are trying to compete, survive, thrive with those cancer cells in the ecosystem of your body. And so one way that your healthy cells try to compete, thrive, and survive is to kill the cancerous cells. Meanwhile, the cancerous cells are trying to compete, thrive, and survive, and they are fighting against the healthy cells. So we've set up an evolutionary model within the ecosystem of your body in a world of limited resources, limited space, and we are looking at a giant model for how biology works within a problem that we have faced and will continue to face in the future. Well, I hope this helped. This is biology, and I guess that's it.